In the land of liberty we stand so tall, where freedom reigns and justice calls. On Super Earth where dreams take flight, we battle bugs and robots with all our might. Democracy song we sing it loud, united we stand in a courageous crowd. Helldivers fighting for what's right, for liberty's sake, we'll win the fight.
Good morning, everyone. My glorious messengers of peace, justice, and spilled oil. That was Democracy Anthem by the Giga Noobs, a fresh new sound on the scene of patriotic music. Loving the name, guys. I'll be following your career with great interest. During the night, Vega Bay saw significant progress and looks to be ready for repatriation into Super Earth's domain within the next 3 hours. Even with their increased numbers, the bots just can't withstand the unbridled heroism, masculinity, and violent instincts of the Helldivers. From there, it looks like the majority of the Liberation Fleet is going to focus up on Verlia 5, which a number of Helldivers have been softening up in preparation for the arrival of the Armada of Freedom, and is already sporting a liberation value of 20%, a very good head start. After that, we might have some problems, as Ristoto has a reputation of space Afghanistan, and Wezen is an extremely unpopular choice. I mean, it's Hellmeyer with strat jammers. Can you really blame them? Even so, the Mercy will be following along with the Liberation Fleet, and we will do our duty, regardless of how unpleasant it's going to be. I see that my polite request last night fell upon deaf ears, with Istana still retaining roughly 20% of the Helldiver Corps in an effort to hold the line against the bugs. And honestly, that's okay. It was just a request, and like I told Stormtrooper 115 last night, the worst that could happen is that you all just said no. You boys might be seeing some reinforcements sometime soon anyway, as neither Listotu or Wezen are going to be very appealing options. The numbers I've been crunching on this major order show us still slightly behind by roughly 4%, with us slowly closing that gap. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to completely succeed at turning the Ymir and Tridon sectors into a clanker-free zone, but we're going to get pretty close. My estimate is that we'll be right on the tail end of finishing Wezen or Ristotu when the clock runs out, which is still a pretty good result. The optional objective of truce will likely remain out of reach for the time being, and Vandalon 4 will continue its time-honored tradition of getting screwed. Sorry, guys. Still, at the start of this venture, the bots had 8 planets in this region of space. They're going to end with 3 or 4, and that's a worthy accomplishment. High Command set a pretty high bar for all of you, so let's not focus on just some pesky major order, and focus instead on spilling oil, claiming as much territory as possible for the time being, and we can come back to anything we don't get done today later on. It's okay. Before I close out the show, I want to acknowledge something that happened to me recently. Before, I'd made the joke of a rivalry between myself and the SES Defender of Freedom's Democracy officer, and at the time, that's all it was, just a cheap joke for giggles. However, it's come to my attention recently that not only is the Galactic War Data Archive team aware of me, they're also subscribed. And are impressed with my consistency, which has me just feeling phenomenal. Saban and I utterly adore GWDA's channel, and it was their news coverage that made me first realize that Helldivers wasn't just some Call of Duty cheapo shooter knockoff, and was something truly special, worthy of my time, and so, here we are. It's the kind of thing that fills me with motivation to do an even better job than I was before. Speaking of which, I've got something to share with you all. I was combing the feeds on the GWW and came across this video log of heroism, killer instinct, and coolness under fire from critical hit ventures who found themselves under attack by gunships, suppressed by a strat jammer, and in basically an extremely hostile situation. A lesser man would just die here, but Ventures was filled with the manly urge to throw himself into a completely unwinnable situation and fluffing win anyway. knows exactly what he is doing when it comes to taking flying toasters apart. I was practically screaming, "Get some, get some, get some!" when he called down the HMG, and the way that his reinforced squad mate covered him when he was downing gunships, textbook. I didn't edit that at all either. Vacher slid that Halo music in himself, which is a choice I very much agree with. Who doesn't just love that song? That's been Liberty's Latest with me, the Radio Angel. Don't lose hope just because the math says you can't do it, Helldivers. Suck in your breath, dig in your feet, grit your teeth, and fight to do it anyway. There's always the chance to pull off an unlikely victory. You got this totally under control, don't you? You're just waiting for... What the heck? X-45 is under attack? Why? The bots do realize there's nothing there but swamp and lightly radioactive remains of the weapons lab, right? I don't think we missed anything. The destruction we unleashed on that place was pretty thorough. The decay rate for all bot-related planets within range of the major order just bumped up again, from 0.65% an hour to 0.8% an hour. That's just great. Well, try to get that cleaned up too if you got time, okay? For liberty, for freedom, for democracy, and for Super Earth.